I'm Naveen. I head the Business Development and Public Affairs function for the Asia Pacific and China unit, working for Vestas. Vestas is in the field of manufacturing wind turbines, and that's the only thing that we do. I think most of the governments that we are working in have a standard incentive policy, which is the feed-in tariff policy. There are some other governments which provide some tax depreciation benefits. They have some import tax benefits and so on and so forth. But majority, you'll see the countries in Asia Pacific at least have a feed-in tariff benefit. I think one key wish list would be to have a renewable energy target per country. We've seen that in the European Union. They have it at a percentage level, so that's 2020. By 2020, they want to get 20%. Or if you look at Australia, which has a gigawatt hour target, which is 43,000 gigawatt hours by 2020. We don't see that level of commitment from some of the Asia Pacific markets where they have a specific target to meet by a certain period. That's I would say is my top item in the wish list. The rest could all just be added, a renewable portfolio obligation or standard that you see in US that could be incorporated into some of the markets here as well. These are the two items which I would say would be quite useful, at least for now. Yes, I think off-grid projects are getting much more popular than it was, say, 3 or 5 years back. What we see is that there are quite a few islands in this part of the world, and they're not connected to the main grid. And we have seen that the main source of energy in these islands is diesel generators, and they cost a lot from a fuel cost point of view. What we believe is some of this mitigation can happen if we have an off-grid solution, saying maybe a hybrid solution with a wind diesel, where we bring in turbines that run, and when the turbines are not running, then use the diesel. That brings down the cost of energy quite a bit. Some governments have already started talking about it, and there are some investors who are also looking into off-grid solutions. In Philippines, in Thailand, we have also done an off-grid solution project in Vietnam, which was a wind diesel hybrid project. It's a small one, 6 megawatt. So what I would say is, yes, there is a movement towards off-grid solution, and which is, I think, for the betterment of the industry. Not just the islands. If you look at some of the other markets, which are not necessarily having islands, but are so far off from the load centers. Take Mongolia, for example. Mongolia has a floating population, meaning that most of the population, 90% of the population is in the capital, which is Ulaanbaatar, but the rest of the population is floating. So what solution we are thinking is that could be an off-grid solution where you don't need to have long grid lines connected to the load center, which is going to cost a lot of money. So to avoid the grid line cost, you could actually have an off-grid solution which is distributed only for that particular place and region. So that's to give you an example in Mongolia. Similar concepts is being applied in Africa as well, because not necessarily island, but they are so far off from the main cities that off-grid solutions, distributed energy, seems to be the more optimal solution. What we have seen so far is that the two countries that are taking the lead is Thailand and Philippines. Both are quite active and pushing the renewable energy agenda quite a bit. What this means to the rest of the region is that because these two countries are taking the lead, the others want to do it, emulate them, and do the same as well. So we've seen Vietnam take some steps towards that. And this conference was interesting to see that there were other countries coming in and participating, like Laos and Cambodia, Malaysia. So it's good for the region. So in that sense, by far Thailand and Philippines are the ones that's taking the lead here. What we also, from an Asian perspective, what I've also seen is that countries like Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh are also now starting to look into renewables and taking some steps towards that, which is also positive for us. The event, I would say, offers a platform to network with like-minded people, those who have the same agenda, and that's the best part about the event. Presentations, and sharing of best practices is the other thing which helps this event. I think that's what we need to focus, or this conference should focus, because it was interesting to see Mr. Anusak from Laos say that, okay, I get to see Thailand and Malaysia do what they're doing, and I learn from that. And that's what we want the countries to do, to learn from each other and make their own policies, frameworks in place. So in that sense, I think sharing of best practices and networking are the two key things that I think has been great about this event.